This is Yasmine Hamadi, and we are going to be doing something a little different today. Today, we're going to be joining Jon Favreau with his podcast, Offline, with who? Jon Favreau. We'll be right back.
Josie Tota and Yasmine Hamadi, hosts of the fantastic show Dare We Say. Welcome to Offline.
Oh my God, we're so happy to be here.
Thank you for having us.
I mean, our producers have wanted to do this crossover for a while now. I think mostly to have fun at my expense as a 41-year-old who is hopelessly out of touch with the social media habits of 20-somethings. And I'm always down to be embarrassed, so here we are.
I think you're selling yourself short. I think the younger children, I think you'd be happy to hear that you have quite a big fan base among among the Gen Z, the children.
I already love this
They
episode.
love you.
Yeah, you're like, this is actually the reason why we're doing this episode.
This
so
is what I wanted to hear.
You know, before you came in, I actually was doing the intro for Dare We Say, and I was like, we're going to be with a 37-year-old. So I thought you were 37, and then Caroline quickly shut that down. So
No, I'm not. No, my younger brother is, who Josie knows, is that age.
Yes, who played my uncle on a short-lived television series called Champions.
oh my God.
Shout out
Small
Andy
world.
Favreau, where I also played a South Asian character. So
Already, and the times were different.
Times were different. It was, I don't even know how
times
many
were
years
different
ago now.
back then.
Yeah.
Times were different.
Well, so we asked people for questions, and just as an example, I got this reply that was definitely not a question. OMG, Favs is like their grandfather. So that's one thing that happened.
How does that make you feel?
Fine.
Okay. You're like, I sleep well at night. I don't care.
I have a few actual questions for the two of you
Please.
about your experience being the most online generation yet. But feel free to jump in at any time if you have questions, comments, mockery for me, whatever.
Slay.
Okay. First question. What do you think is the biggest generational divide in terms of how older and younger people use and think about social media?
Wow.
Yaz, you want to go first?
Yeah. Okay. So first of all, love that you called me Yaz. I'm so grateful that we're on that.
We're on
that level now.
That's how we are.
I think the big one is my parents always say this to me. Why do you want to put your whole life on social media? Why do you care to share everything on social media? What you're doing, whether that's a story, a post, tagging the location. Whereas my parents are very removed from that. So I think our generation want to capitalize off social media and make something out of it. Whereas I feel like your generation kind of wants to share it in like a more playful way. Does that make sense?
It does make sense.
Okay.
Well, I mean, Josie, why do you, if you agree with your co-host, why do you feel like you want to share so much of your life on social media?
I think as young people, and specifically our generation, we have a tendency to want to feel closer to other people and to feel less alone. And I think we have capitalized off of social media and weaponized it as a way to connect to people who are like us, especially if you are from a marginalized community. I mean, even just growing up as a trans person in, Northern California, I didn't know anyone else who was trans. I had never met a trans person. I had never even heard of a friend knowing a friend that was trans. And having social media to kind of make friends online or just get advice from like a big sister or an older friend that you would in real life was instrumental. And I think young people really understand the power of connection. I think that this might be, I mean, it could be untrue, but in my opinion, I would say that most of the polarization we see in media is coming from older generations. And I think younger people are actually trying to merge that divide.
100%.
That's interesting. I think I'm an interesting case. My generation is an interesting case because I think we're sort of on the edge. Like I spent the first 20 years of my life without social media.
Yeah.
And then I have spent the last 20 on social media. I feel like when I started to get on social media, like when I first got on Instagram, it was a place to connect with friends.
Yeah.
Which is what you guys are talking about, which I really loved. I think where social media, at least for me, has gotten worse is when those connections go beyond just friends or people that you meet online that become your friends, and it's instead the whole world that you're talking to and dealing with and hearing from all the time.
Oh, yeah. I think social media is such what a convenient place to have an opinion also, because you can hide behind a screen. There's a lot of like user 7321, user blah, 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 like a lot of catfishes out there that are so willing to just put their opinion out just for the sake of putting their opinion out.
Yeah.
And I feel like I think there was a study that did this, that the majority are men in like the Midwest or like the South of the United States that are like in their 30s that just love trolling.
Yeah.
And this is big, I don't know, with the gaming community or whatnot, but they love having an opinion and starting havoc just for the sake of havoc.
Yeah.
And I think that's the difference also, because like they're not exactly your generation, but they're not ours. They're right in between us.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, sort lonelier dudes.
Lonely men.
Dudes.
Yeah, that just they resent people having a community. Therefore, they're coming in and trying to rip it apart.
Yeah. Ruben asked this question, username Ruben. Is there anything younger, more online people wish they could have experienced like the less online generations before them?
I think even just growing up, we talk about it a lot on our show and even just amongst each other as friends. It's not normal to like see each other or our own faces this much. And as actors, I think that's something that like we have to reckon with, but like that's something that everyone can relate to now is we're so aware of every single detail of our appearance and what we look like at any moment of the day or any second. As young people, our like camera, as pathetic as it sounds, is like opened like a million times a day. It's so weird. I don't even know if you know that, but like, someone's always looking at themselves when they're moving about their day. And I think just growing up is something that we miss out on, like having a genuine puberty experience without having to have every second of their lives documented. And I think that stunts a lot of growth in people.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's also, we don't go outside as much. We don't, like the very simplest of things, we don't enjoy the basic aspects of life. Like and that I'm at fault for this too. Like when I go outside or like in the trees looking really beautiful, instead of like going to touch a tree or like look at a tree, I'm like, let me take a photo of this first.
Yeah.
Like, let me document this first in story. Or when I'm going out to a restaurant and the food's really beautiful, instead of like being mesmerized by the food and being like, I can't wait to eat this plate, I'm like, let me take a photo of this first. Let me show the world this.
I remember, I think it was Earth Day, like many years ago, in like 2008 or whatever, and Disney Channel stopped all programming for an entire day and said, like, you just need to go out and play outside. And that memory just came back to my head. I was like, there would never, and we didn't have Instagram. We didn't have Instagram then, me sounding like an elder when I was literally 6 years old. Back in the day, she's been through it. She's had growth. She started in the sticks.
Please, chip on her shoulder. You've come so far, babe.
But you can't just shut down all social media, Like, everything is always on. I can't even go 10 minutes without being spoiled by the White Lotus finale because I haven't even had enough time to watch it. And that fucks you up,
Yeah.
That's emotionally, specifically the White Lotus finale. That's like traumatizing for someone.
No, I couldn't watch it even for an hour and a half. And I had to like plug in my phone and I just left it somewhere because I was like, I can't even pick up my phone because forget about Twitter. Like friends would text about it. One experience I wish that you both could have had that I used to have when I was in college. So we had instant messenger in college and no phones. We do not have cell phones, or at least not like smartphones.
Yeah.
So you would go out to a party, you'd go out with your friends to the party, and then you'd have the party. Everyone would split up, do different things, and then the next day you would go to brunch in the dining hall. And that would be the first time you heard about your friend's night and what happened.
The debrief.
The debrief.
The debrief,
And there was a full brunch debrief that never happens
Yeah.
now, I would imagine.
The
because
anticipation.
The anticipation and the stories, and you connect over those stories at brunch, and it's something you look forward to. And now it's all sort of instant and everything's planned and you know where everyone is all the time.
I completely agree.
I will say we try to do that. We do something in our friend group where we give teases where we're like, okay, well, I need to debrief on this, but I'm like, can I at least have a tease? And so we'll give like keywords.
Yeah.
And we love a debrief. We always do coffee in the morning.
Always do coffee, and it's always on the couch, and like all of us will come together, and the teaser cannot be like more than 2 sentences long.
That's good.
And
like that.
But that is true though. If you ran into your ex, you would just text me in that moment and be like, I ran into my ex.
I ran into my ex, but then you would make sure to say, and this is something I really value in my friendships, is that I don't want to hear about it that night. I want to I want to have the community together tomorrow morning and let's do the debrief. Like, it is literally a ritual of sorts of like having that moment. And it's like my friends in college and I were talking about it because I was in Santa Barbara this weekend with them for our birthday, and we like had a little bit of fun. And the next morning we're like, let's talk about it. And we were together too. We weren't on social media. We weren't talking about it, but it's like being together on a couch, talking.
It's great.
Talking tea. Like, that is, I don't know. It's
Well,
rare.
part of it is like all my friends, none of us, there's one friend that we have who's still single. And so like now all of it, we're like, tell us your story. Like, did you go on a date? Tell us about the date.
Yeah.
Because none of us have any other news. We're like, yeah, we're married. We did what married people do.
And what is that? Married with children?
Married with children, we watch TV till 8:30 or 9 o'clock and then go to bed.
Sure.
Or if there's like a big night out and we got a babysitter, then we go out till
And then the
11
debrief.
or 11:30.
The debrief in the morning on
There's
FaceTime
somewhat
with the
of it.
baby.
Yeah, there's
I can
somewhat of
imagine
a
Emily
debrief.
like that.
That's
You're like,
that.
that Dateline episode last night was insane.
Yeah.
How much pressure do you feel to post about social or political issues or causes or events?
I think it's become so ingrained in our culture. And we also discussed the really tight line between performative activism and posting authentically, because social media has become such a utility in our lives that it almost feels wrong to not post about things that are happening in the world if you have time, and if you are posting about, your beach bikini pics and what have you. Even to the point where I had written this like sweet paragraph in my notes app one day when I was feeling emotional and was reflecting on the past 4 years that I had been at college and stepping into my gender identity and my truth and myself. And I sent it to my mom, and she was like, this is great, but it doesn't mention anything to do with Iran, and that's where you should be really focused right now. And this is like this is like a month ago.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm posting about Iran, mother, and that is so much obviously more important in my opinion than what I'm saying right now.
Yeah.
But I'm like, even my mom is like, but also that'd be inauthentic for me to just end a paragraph, shouting out this obviously very important
You're like,
cause that
pray for
needs to
this
be
country.
Discussed.
Also Iran.
Yeah, also Iran.
Also Iran,
care about
which,
it.
by the way, also Iran. We are going through a revolution right now, and everybody should be informed of this and should look it up if they don't know what we're talking about. But even to the point where my mom is mentioning it, it's like it's become such a part of our vernacular that it's like it's a difficult line to toe.
Yeah, like Josie said, we have an episode on this, like the award for best performative activism on Dare We Say. And I'm split. I have two opinions because to a degree, I do believe that if you have a platform, you 100% have a responsibility to post about things. In my opinion, if you have a platform, you have that responsibility. That being said, if it's not authentic, if you're not educated about it, if you've not done your due diligence and your research, don't do it. Don't do it. Like,
because that would be my, like, I do this for a living, right?
Yes.
Like, I'm a political news junkie, so I'll post about, I
Right.
can post about most things, but most people shouldn't have to know about everything.
No.
Like, it'd be nice if you were educated about every issue in the world, but if you're not and you still feel like you have to post about it anyway, I feel like that's when people get into trouble.
100%. And also, you have to protect your peace at the end of the day, too. Because, like, the girls and I have talked about this. There's so many awful things going on in the world constantly. And, like, we're literally burning into shreds right now with our climate. And, like, things can be so daunting and so sad that posting about every sad and horrific issue might do more harm than good.
Yeah.
might do more harm than good. So I think taking a step back and just feeling like taking out that pressure, but also knowing if you do have that, if you are on a, not a pedestal, but people do look up to you and people do come to you for news, acknowledging that and then going forward.
Yeah, I think you can make the world a better place and work to improve things without just like bumming everyone out all the time.
Oh my God, yes, 100%. We'll all just sit in a pit of our own tears for years.
Yeah, and that's
know?
not helping anyone.
No, that's not.
Yeah, you only live once. Caro on Instagram asks, you guys should talk about dating apps. They're terrible. I just miss dating apps since I met Emily like right before dating apps took off.
Really?
So I've totally missed them. Do you use them?
Lucky
Are they
you.
terrible?
I have been on famously one date on a dating app, so I do not use them. They don't work for me. I'm more of a, I used to be a really like a Instagrammer dating app person, like using Instagram as a
Yeah,
dating
you were
app.
a DMer.
Okay.
I was a DMer. I'm a recovering addict. I don't do that anymore. I don't know where I had the confidence to do such a thing. But now I'm just kind of like, if I just get, I don't know. I'm waiting to get smacked in the face on accident by a man in like a cafe and like I fall to my knees in love.
Please.
That's great.
I don't know why our meet cute is like domestic abuse.
Please,
I'll work
I
on
can't.
that. But Yasmine is the person that I get all my dating app stories
Yeah.
from.
So I actually met my current, like, I hate the word partner so
Lover?
much, but like my person that
I know,
I'm.
it's like a boring sort
Like,
of
I
antiseptic
hate it.
word.
Like my
That's
partner,
Why, yeah,
like
yeah.
I'm like, we're not 90. Like we are in a committed relationship, but like
Yeah.
I'm not like, this is my partner. Like, no, this is my person. We actually met through Hinge, and so
Okay.
yeah, so we met.
Hinge has always seemed like the friendliest, safest one.
It's the safest one. So like Tinder's like for like if you want to like hook up, strictly hooking up. Bumble is kind of like, oh, women make the first move first. Like, oh, just relax.
Yeah.
Like literally relax. Hinge is like the apps that's supposed to be deleted, and that's kind of iconic. Which I did delete it actually, you know, and like I sent my person a rose because you could do that. Dating apps are fun, but like there are a bunch of weirdos on there, and also people are not taking it seriously.
I'd encourage people to talk to more people in person.
Yeah.
Which is sounds. I sound like I'm a co-host of The View or something. Speaking
Yeah,
of children, like they're
okay,
younger
go
than me
off
when
The
I'm
View.
literally
I like
that
this.
person.
I like this.
I am that person that needs to be told this to, but like I will go up and just talk to random people all the time, and especially now I've been living in like a foreign country for the past 6 months, and I've gotten bored of just life, and so I've gone up to random people and just been like, hi, how are you? And I would encourage it. I think it creates connections that are more genuine and
agree.
authentic, and you're not hiding behind a phone. You're forced to like show up for yourself.
Yeah.
So I'd recommend that.
But also, you do meet, I hate to play the devil's advocate, but like then you do meet some good people. It's very rare because I've been on, Josie knows, I've cried to her. I've cried over bad dates on Hinge and on Bumble and on these bullshit apps.
Yeah.
Like these guys suck. And then you meet like this girl, like one girl who's like changes your life and like she's incredible on Hinge and like
I've heard it both ways. Look,
we're in love.
I met Emily at a bar randomly.
See, that's
Totally
great.
just
That's
randomly
great.
at
Yeah.
a bar.
Met
Our
her at a
group of
bar.
friends went up to her group of friends, and that was that. And then I have friends who met their spouses on dating apps.
Yeah, so it's
And
it
it's
really
worked out
goes-
well.
It goes both ways, you know.
It's whatever floats your boat.
It's whatever floats.
whatever
It
works for
doesn't float
you.
Josie's, and it floats mine perfectly. But
There you go.
yeah,
Katie on Instagram says, what are your favorite emojis, and which ones do you think are cringe?
I am not really an emoji user
Yeah, no, me
at
neither,
all.
really.
I'm just pretty blunt.
I'm not an unironic emoji user.
I am.
I sometimes use the eye roll emoji.
I know you would. That literally makes sense. I could so see John like just
just
having
like-
this one.
Oh, God,
So
really?
there's this one. I love the heart, like having the hand on the heart.
Okay.
This
Yeah.
ding, and then this one. I salute you. Ding. That's like yes, ma'am, or like yes, sir. And then this one. This one, like the
Surprise face?
no,
Palm?
it's like
Oh, palm face.
the palm, and it's like.
Yeah. Trying to explain this
I-
for the audio medium.
Exactly. I love the bubbles. I love bubble emoji.
Bubble.
Bubble, like it's really pretty colors.
Oh.
And then obviously the laughing. Oh, I also love that one. And the last one is the That one, you know, it's like the
Tongue out,
the-
sort
Tongue
of
out.
crazy.
Yeah,
tongue
that
out,
one.
tongue out the side, deranged. Just did MDMA.
Good. That's a good list. Nicholas asks, what brings Josie and Yaz hope, and what strategies do they suggest to find community and feel less Instagram envy? It's the last question for you.
I think something that really brings us hope is getting to know the people that are not only in our generation, but that are even younger than us. I mean, I spoke at a school in Brooklyn. Well, I wasn't in Brooklyn. I was on Zoom. Wish I could have gone to Brooklyn.
In my room.
I met in your room, and you heard the conversation that I had with them, which was so inspiring and wonderful, because there was all these like 10-year-olds and 9-year-olds standing so proud and true in their identity, who are LGBTQIA plus kids. And that just made me so excited and thrilled that even when I wasn't strong enough or I wasn't brave enough to like stand in my truth at such a young age, like seeing that more, I think makes us hopeful. And also I just feel like as people in this time right now, there's this need for coming together that I think we're seeing more than ever. And I think that has been reflected in our recent midterm election, in a minimal way, but in a way that we saw. And I think it's reflected in social media. I really do think people want to get along more than they don't. And that ideology gives me hope.
That's lovely.
And also, and what was the second part?
What strategies do they suggest to find community and feel less Instagram envy?
Yeah, I think, Josie, you said it perfectly. I think a big one is investing in your friends that you have with you. And like, I know things get busy. I know life takes a toll, but I really implore you to, you know, make that effort of just an hour of coffee if you can. Or if your friends across the country, that FaceTime and asking questions and saying like, I saw this meme, this song reminded me of you. And I also feel like the older you are, the less likely you are to build relationships, new friendships too.
I was just about to say that this is, I'll be the old guy talking on this one. As you get older, it's more difficult to do that with your
100%.
friends because, you know, you get married and you have kids and you're busy at your job, but it becomes even more important to reach out to those friends, to set the time, to have like a couple hours to hang out, to go out on a Friday night. It's super important.
Put in the genuine effort and be present. And also know that social media is so freaking fake. And even if you're seeing your friend on a yacht somewhere, it might as well be a green screen. Literally in Burbank.
Because it is a green screen. Yeah. It's all fake.
And because it is fake. And what matters is the life that you lead and you live. And at the end of the day, when you're 6 feet under or hopefully 12 feet above in a statue, like I
Josie, that was
presume to be,
incredible. That is hilarious, Josie.
Love
you
that.
aren't going to be regretful that you didn't get to do the things that the people you saw on social media were doing. You're going to be regretful that you didn't spend time with the people in your life and the ones that you love and the things that you care about.
Well, that is a perfect place to leave it.
I think we're good right
A lovely
there.
thought. Josie Toda and Yasmine Hamidi, thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
This was fun.
This is exciting. We should do this again.
Yeah, anytime.
Thank you.
Now you guys have to do like a Pod Save the World crossover with Tommy.
Oh,
just to complete.
please.
Oh, we must. We have to. We will. Done. It's already happened.